Today, we're diving into the Spanish psychological thriller, The Invisible Guest. The story begins with Adrián Doria, a young and successful businessman who seems to have everything: wealth, fame, and a perfect family. But at this moment, his life is falling apart. He's been accused of murdering his lover, Laura Vidal, and the evidence against him is overwhelming. He insists he's innocent, but no one believes him. With his trial just hours away, his lawyer sends a special defense witness consultant, Virginia Goodman, a respected and sharp legal strategist known for never losing a case. She arrives at Adrian's apartment late in the evening, and their meeting begins in secrecy. Virginia tells him they only have a few hours to build a solid version of his story before the trial begins. She demands complete honesty from him. Adrian agrees and starts telling her everything that happened. He explains that some time ago, he had an affair with Laura Vidal, a married woman he met during a business conference. What began as a secret romance soon turned into something dangerous. One night, while driving back from a secluded cabin, their car collided with another vehicle on a narrow road. The accident killed a young man named Daniel Garrido. Panicked and fearing the consequences, Laura convinced Adrian not to call the police. Instead, they decided to cover it up. They placed Daniel's body back in his car and pushed the vehicle into a nearby lake to make it look like he had gone missing. Adrian was hesitant but followed Laura's plan. Just then, as they stood by the lakeside, a vehicle approached. A middle-aged man stepped out and asked if everything was all right. Laura stayed calm and told him they had hit a deer but everything was fine. The man offered to help, saying he had a garage nearby. He introduced himself as Tomás Garrido. Laura, realizing that their car wouldn't start, accepted his offer. Adrian waited behind, nervous, while Laura went with Tomás in his truck. Tomás took her to his home, where she met his wife, Elvira Garrido. The house was warm and filled with family photos. Laura looked around and froze when she saw a picture of their son. It was Daniel, the same young man they had just left at the bottom of the lake. She remained composed, pretending not to recognize him, and introduced herself with a fake name, Elena Ruiz, saying she owned a bookstore in Madrid. When Elvira asked about her son, Laura lied, saying he must be fine and would probably call soon. As she spoke, Daniel's phone, which she had taken from his car, began buzzing in her pocket. She quickly silenced it and slipped it under a couch cushion, pretending it was nothing. She thanked them for their kindness and left, trying to appear calm, though she was shaking inside. Later that night, Adrian and Laura reported her car as stolen and pretended they knew nothing about the crash. Days passed, and Daniel's disappearance made headlines. His parents, Tomás and Elvira, began searching everywhere for him. Later, news spread that Daniel Garrido had disappeared. His parents, Tomás and Elvira, were devastated. They searched everywhere for their son but never found him. Meanwhile, Adrian tried to distance himself from the incident, but Laura began feeling guilty. The guilt consumed her, and she believed that someone had found out the truth. Months later, Adrian received a message claiming that he and Laura were being blackmailed. The blackmailer demanded money and told them to meet at a remote hotel, Hotel Rural Los Pinos. Adrian and Laura checked into the hotel under fake names, as instructed. They carried the money, waiting for the next message. But things took a dark turn. When Adrian regained consciousness after being knocked out, he found Laura dead in the bathroom. The room was locked from the inside, and there were no signs of forced entry or escape. The police arrived moments later and arrested Adrian on suspicion of murder. Impossible for anyone else to have committed the crime. Back in the present, Virginia listens to Adrian's story and challenges him. She questions inconsistencies and pushes him to reveal details he's been hiding. Under pressure, Adrian admits that his original version wasn't the full truth. He finally confesses that after the car accident, it was Laura who had hidden Daniel's wallet and phone. She used them to steal money from his bank account, trying to make it seem like Daniel had run away after committing fraud. In the following days, Tomás began investigating his son's disappearance. He grew suspicious of Adrian and Laura. One day, he disguised himself as a reporter and approached Adrián during an award ceremony, demanding to know what happened to Daniel. Adrián managed to get away, but from that moment, he knew Daniel's parents were after him. Virginia continues to analyze every detail. She reconstructs possible scenarios of what might have happened in the hotel. She suggests that Laura might have lured Adrián there to force a confession or expose him. She could have been working with Tomas and Elvira, using the blackmail as a trap. But something went wrong, leading to her death. Adrián listens but denies it. He insists someone else must have entered the room and killed Laura. Virginia asks how that could be possible in a locked room. He doesn't have an answer. Then she mentions that Daniel didn't die in the car crash, he drowned in the lake, meaning he was still alive when the car was pushed in. The realization hits Adrián hard. Virginia uses every method to get to the truth. Slowly, Adrián's calm facade breaks down. Before Adrián begins the fabricated story about Tomas and his wife, Virginia quietly presents a newspaper she has been carrying with her. On the front page is a composite sketch, a face drawn from witness accounts gathered near the hotel on the night of Laura's death. Adrián studies the image for a moment. The sketch strongly resembles Elvira, Tomas's wife. He then offers a different version, a careful, constructed scenario in which Tomas and his wife were the ones who planned the locked room setup. Adrián says they arranged everything long before the hotel meeting. Elvira, he claims, worked at Los Pinos and used her position to create a secret way in and out. According to his story, she slipped Tomas a staff key and told him where the service corridor and the linen closet were, the narrow back passages guests never saw. Tomas used that access to enter the isolated wing without being seen, hide in a service closet just outside room 12, and wait until the money arrived. He claims Tomas emerged from the hidden passage and attacked him first. In this fabricated account, Tomas violently struck him, leaving him disoriented. Tomas turned on Laura and killed her in a sudden burst of rage. He insists that the entire sequence happened too quickly for him to intervene. According to this false story, Tomas then retreated the same way he had entered, slipping back through the concealed service route while Elvira prepared the room to appear sealed from the inside. Adrián presents this version as a meticulous plan carried out by the couple to frame him, using their access to the hotel and their desire for vengeance as motivation. Elvira, still on duty, then re-entered the guest area, closed the service door behind her, and staged the scene so that the police would find the room locked from the inside. Virginia laid a folded map on the table, marking the location of the remote mountain lake where Daniel's car had sunk. Adrián studied it carefully, realizing the truth could be recovered at any moment. Once he processed the location, Virginia stepped toward the window. Across the street, Tomas Garrido stood silently. Adrián began revealing the events at the lake. Daniel had still been alive when he pushed the car into the water, and the boy had begged for his life. Despite that, Adrián pushed the car fully into the lake. Virginia's expression shifted, the weight of the confession was almost tangible. Under pressure, Adrián admitted that the story he had told about the car accident and Laura's behavior was false. Laura had panicked and tried to call the police. He had stopped her. In the heat of the moment, he had planned to kill her. He confessed to killing Laura, staging the room to appear as a locked room crime. He finally admits that Laura's death was no accident. When she threatened to expose their crime, he attacked her in anger and staged the scene to look like a robbery gone wrong, scattering the cash and creating the illusion of an intruder. He even knocked himself unconscious to appear as a victim. Virginia appears to accept the confession. She tells him to call his lawyer and prepare the official statement. She leaves the room for a moment. But then he notices something strange, a small device hidden near the table, recording everything. He also realizes that Virginia had taken his phone earlier and returned it after some time. Looking out the window, Adrián sees a man watching the apartment from across the street. He recognizes him instantly, it's Tomas Garrido. The truth hits him, the woman in front of him isn't Virginia Goodman at all. It's Elvira, Daniel's mother, disguised to trick him into confessing. The entire conversation was a setup to record his confession. Moments later, the Real Virginia Goodman arrives at the building, but it's too late. Adrian's confession has already been transmitted. Police sirens echo outside as Elvira walks away calmly. Adrian realizes he has been outsmarted from the beginning. The story ends with the revelation that the so-called invisible guests were Daniel's parents all along. They never stopped watching, never stopped seeking justice for their son. Adrian's own lies became his trap, and the truth, no matter how deeply buried, finally surfaced.